meeting.
All right, the stream is live.
Okay. So for the first read for the school committee, we are bringing forward the policy that we worked on immunization. Just to recap last meeting, we decided we're not doing anything about the COVID vaccine. And the reason why is that it's not mandated at this point. So in reviewing our immunization policy that we currently have, I did notice that there was a reference to a Department of Health document that seemed pretty outdated. So what I'm bringing forward for the first read is just a newer updated process from the Department of Health. But I've also discussed with Jessica, I think it would be helpful that those are the documents from the Department of Health. We should at least have a policy cover sheet that says something to the effect of the East Providence School District follows the guidelines for the Department of Health and CDC regarding immunizations. And then you have that backup information later. So I will plan to present that, but it won't, that cover sheet won't make it until the second read because we've already submitted documents. And so in talking about the policy committee as well, currently right now we're meeting every other week. And Jessica was indicating that during the summer, we're definitely not going to be doing that. We probably will take a little hiatus during the summer and maybe I'll start preparing some policies to start meeting again like in August. So we'll take a little time off in between that. But meanwhile, we are looking at the residency policy, which Jessica thought that maybe we needed to look at that a little bit more. And I think, Jenny, you thought so as well, right?
Yeah, I brought it up at the last school committee meeting.
Okay, so I've actually sent that to Diana. And I don't know if she's had an opportunity to take a look at it, but I sent her an example from another district as well as our district, just to see how ours compares or if she thought that we needed to add anything. And so I'll let Diana speak to that effect.
Yeah, so thanks, Cheryl. I did have a chance to review it briefly. I also pulled out the Rhode Island general laws that also would be part of the residency. It looks like the example that you gave merged the two residency requirements as well as registration. So I'm trying to understand if that's what we're trying to. Sorry, fire drill. Hold on one second.
No problem. We'll just take a little break here. I guess that's what happens when we're in school. No, it's not here.
So I guess I'll ask now, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Feel free to like send me any things that you want to work on when the school year starts again.
Okay.
My schedule also opened up for the summer, so
Okay.
I'll be able to like at least do some more research on my end so I can have some things prepared for the school year.
Okay.
So feel free to send me stuff.
Right. So that's what I think that I will work on. Once we get everyone out on the last day of school, you know, we get a little sigh of relief usually. And then I can set things up so we can pre-work on some of this stuff. So when we bring it to the committee, we only have an hour to meet so that it can definitely be more productive. But I mean, not for nothing, I think we worked on a lot this year. I mean, we had things that we had to incorporate with COVID and so forth. I mean, we did do a lot. I mean, I think it was a good job. I don't know if Diana is still in the midst of her fire drill. Oh, she is. Okay, so we won't. We won't click her back on. Well, so yeah, so then when we start back up, you know, we'll be working on these things, but we may be just forwarding them back and forth. And then starting after that, when we start meeting again in August, we're definitely going to be meeting in person. We're not going to be doing this anymore. It'll just make it much easier to be able to actually have a working meeting. So we're having Diana talk. Jessica just popped in. Okay.
Sorry.
Right. So Jessica, what I kind of went over with them, do you want to just shut that, Jessica? We can't have Diana talk right now because she has a fire drill going on.
I was
so-
wondering what that
yeah,
noise was.
Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about the immunization policy, how that's going back for a first read. We have a more updated document, but Jessica and I were talking a little bit this morning about we need to at least have the cover sheet for immunization that say the East Providence School District follows the Department of Health and CDC guidelines. Then you have your whole process and what has to be done after that. So I will prepare that and that will be sent to the committee, school committee for the second read, okay? So they're gonna get to look at the updated stuff, which we did not put the COVID vaccine in because it has not been mandated. So Diana has been reviewing the residency policy and Diana, when it stops beeping, is it still beeping over there? Oh, yeah. Okay. So Diana's reviewed the residency policy, but we've also talked a little bit about the fact that we're going to start meeting in person. Like, yeah.
I think at this point, to be more productive, as long as everybody's okay with it, which I think the only productive way is to sometimes get ideas and bang them off of each other, would be to meet in person. I don't expect July that we do this. If there is something that needs to come up and we need to get together,
Right.
we can do that. But I think starting at least in August going
Right.
forward,
Right.
if that's
Yeah.
workable, if it's not workable and no one, if you can't make it, we can maybe video
Post.
chat or
Right.
something like that. But in my head, having it at a central location is the best, so that we can spread out and get at least ideas on paper.
So what we were also thinking is, you know, we're not going to be really meeting in July unless there's something crucial
Correct.
that had to be done. But so when we prepare and start again in August in meeting, and we're going to meet in person, before that time, we can kind of have some policies like in the lineup that we're ready to work on. And Jenny said her summer opens a little bit, so she might be able to review them legally for us as
Okay.
well. So that would be great. Okay. So Diana is reviewing the residency, but she can't talk yet because she
Okay.
still has the
That's a really long fire drill.
It is.
I'm just trying to get, I just wanted, so I don't know, I apologize that I was late. I had a pretty important phone call to take. I don't know, I know districts are doing it and we have not, but a local district has said that about our mask policy.
Mhm.
I don't know if they updated their mask policy, amended their mask policy, or just put it out in the social media world about their mask policy. But they're not making, you know, the masks outside for outdoor graduations has come out through RIDE. And is this from Rhode Island Department of Health?
That came from the that came from the RISA, right?
Okay.
From
So the CDC
RIDE.
has come out, RIDE has come out, the governor has come out saying that if you are outside, and Rhode Island Interscholastic League has come out and said you do not have to wear masks, unvaccinated or vaccinated, if you are outside. Obviously, if you were not comfortable, you wear a mask. My daughter was wearing a mask outside yesterday, vaccinated. Still haven't figured it out yet, but whatever. That's what her choice was, and she's just so used to wearing it at this point. However, I do before graduation want to put something in writing. I mean, if we're following, if our policy was to follow the CDC guidelines, to follow RIDEs, to follow follow the Department of Health and the governors, I think we need to do that. To when outside, students and staff should work to maintain social distancing when possible, but it does not seem like they have to wear a mask. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know what the plan is for graduation. I have not spoken to the superintendent about it, but I'm looking at what looks to be the law in front of me, if this is what I'm looking at. So I don't think I'll get it on the agenda for Tuesday, so I don't even know how we would go about this.
Can it just be an announcement?
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I have, at this point, we have elementary school kids that are at recess with masks on, but according to our policy, if we're following the rules, we don't need to. And I would like some kind of, I don't know.
But I feel like we've had so many changes through this whole course of COVID, and many times we've had to change the way we were doing things. So I think when we say that we're following the CDC guidelines, which have been changing, I mean, we made changes with this. So, I mean, is it something that we have to write another whole policy for, or just state that the Department of Health and the CDC has changed the guidelines now and basically make a memo or a guideline out? I don't know. What do you think, Jenny?
I guess I was gonna ask, what happened when initially the mask mandate was put in place? Did it have to come before the school committee to make a decision on, or was it just the superintendent that put out the mask policy out in the beginning?
No, I wrote the mask. I wrote it. I wrote the policy.
You wrote it?
Because we had issues, and I will be honest with you, the mask policy became into effect. I mean, it had already been, set up.
Had already been doing.
Right. But we had parents on the premises of the schools not wearing masks. That's really why the mask policy was set up, because students were already wearing them in classrooms.
Because otherwise we would just say we follow those guidelines.
But parents were approaching schools not wearing masks on school property. And what was happening is we had teachers and paraprofessionals being yelled at every morning because they told them. That's why every school you'll see that there's a big stop sign with the mask sign that I have asked.
Yeah. So if that was how it was approached, and it wasn't like it was a requirement through the law to go through that process, I believe we can put out an announcement that masks would no longer be required. And then for the next school committee meeting, we can have it on the agenda and we can remove that policy from the books.
Yeah.
But I don't see an issue on why we wouldn't be able to withdraw it, at least through an announcement for now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So basically announce the new changes, and then at the next school committee, we don't need a mask policy if we're following the guidelines, because those could change at all times.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I will discuss with the superintendent about an announcement based on this information and see if she will do that. I think it needs to come from her.
Yeah.
Okay.
The announcement does need to come from her, but the decision should be based if the school committee decides to make that. And once again, it's a preference. It doesn't, especially for at least graduation, if we can sit the kids 3 feet apart, which I'm assuming we're going to do anyway, just like we did for the CDC graduation.
Are they going to talk about graduation process at the next meeting, or?
Once again, I was not asked.
Okay.
I don't even know what's on the agenda.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the agenda yet.
Okay.
So I wasn't asked to put anything on the agenda, and I wasn't. So no clue. Can I talk now?
Can you talk?
I can. So
I was in a totally different room, and I thought that it was this fire alarm.
Everybody was going.
It's loud. It is very loud, and it scares the heck out of you. So basically, I did have a chance to review it, both the one that we have, the sample that you sent. I pulled the Rhode Island general laws out that would affect our policy. Now, my first question was, are we thinking that we want to merge as the sample, the example that you guys sent out to me? Do you want to merge the registration requirements and the residency? Because that's,
Yeah, I just wanted your opinion, and that's all I know
Okay.
that theirs was pretty, I just wanted your opinion, knowing that this has been brought up on social media already. It's been brought up to me in emails about how many students we think we're going to have transferring in via the bus, the city bus. So that's why I kind of wanted to know what your feeling was, if we need to change this, or you think we're good to go.
no,
Ultimately,
I mean, I think it's a little outdated.
Yep.
For sure. We actually require, I mean, even though that some of the information is still pertinent, it is a little outdated. So I would like to take a swipe at it and maybe go through it, incorporating some of the same information. Registration obviously is somewhat different than residency, because those who are doing it properly are registering their student. And unfortunately, sometimes we do have parents and guardians that would try to get in under the auspice of maybe a relative living here. So they use that address. But we also do our due diligence, and if we notice, we have the right to do an investigation anytime we want. For the taxpayers, we do it, we have a fiduciary responsibility to them. So what we normally do is, if there's anybody that's questionable, we will do an investigation. We also provide or ask the person registering to provide a certain amount of things for us, and they have to be current information, not just, bulk mail or, something like that. So I think if I can sort of have a few, maybe a couple of weeks to put something together, I think that would probably be a good idea.
I have a question, Diana. This might be something we discuss later on, I understand, but does Rhode Island allow for the investigations to also include home visits?
Yes.
And okay.
Yeah. I mean, we do home visits. That's how our, some of our investigation is done. We used to have an attendance officer who used to do some of that legwork. They used to do surveillance. Now we don't have that attendance officer, so we use a community officer here in East Providence. And if we have an idea that the person is trying to register here, but they are living in another city, I will send that attendance officer from that city out to the residents to see who's living there. So there's a lot of different things that we do to make sure that the students who are supposed to be here are here, and they're the ones that are, they're the ones that are getting the benefits of the programming here, not people who live in Pawtucket, Providence, Warwick, wherever. So.
Thanks. Yeah, I've also had the same issue brought up to me, Jessica. Like that was one of the big issues that people were mentioning as I was running, was that they were concerned about the students coming in on the bus as well. So
yeah, I mean, we do have certain students that do come in on the bus. We've tried to eliminate some of that, and we have reduced the number. This year was very difficult because everybody, because of the distance learning, we had people that may have still been living here, but they may have been living with the grandmother, or an aunt living in Providence or Virginia, or so, you know, we had to figure out how to track that, but
I don't even know this year how anyone, I think when it comes to residency of this year, you know, like a lot of stuff, there are exceptions to the rule. I mean, people that had COVID had to move from one house to another. People had, people like myself who had to work all through COVID, whose child had to go to school. I mean, I can't imagine what we heard a story last night at the EPLAC meeting, what some of these students have been through. It's you know, if they were getting educated, I'm just happy about it this year.
Yeah.
I know that's not how I will feel next year, but this year, that's how I feel.
no, and I think that is a very generous way to look at things, because of the fact that people struggled. People who had to work struggled if their kids had to stay home, if there were underlying issues. So we did take all of that into consideration, and we tried very hard. Our main goal was to make sure that everybody who was enrolled in our schools was participating. And, you know, residency, sometimes it's a fluke that it comes up to us, but most of the time, you know, we have the background data or the proof that we put together from a registration standpoint. So can it change? You know, they register in August. Can it change in September or October? Of course it can. So, you know, sometimes we try as hard as we can to track everybody, but.
Diana, do we have the resources? And I know you mentioned the resource officer and using other districts. Do we have the resource officer or the resources if we do see this to be a problem going forward? And I'm not talking maybe this year, but maybe next year, you know, once we're up and rolling and people see what they see, to start going door to door if necessary?
Well, I mean, we have the resources right now. I think we have resources in the school. We have resources out of the school with the community officers. So right now, I don't really see that as being an issue, but, you know, we try to nip it in the bud when it comes to registration. So we try, you know, like I said, we attempt to make sure that everything is in place so we don't have to do that, but we will if we have to.
So would it be fair to say that if we could try to get, obviously, this document through 2 passages before the start of school?
Yeah, that's why I think
Yeah.
I'm going to try to work very hard on the getting it done for you guys to look at
Okay.
for our next meeting. So this way you can at least have a look, and then hopefully we can, I'm not sure if you're going to have 2 passes because we have the meeting in June. We don't have a meeting in July. And then you have the meeting in August. Am I correct?
Yeah, but there are, if now
You could
one pass,
ask to pass it in
or you
one.
can ask. to
Okay.
pass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be, that would be great if we could do it in August to make sure we
Okay.
have everything.
Okay, perfect.
I can't stop looking at Ben's face.
I
I'm
know.
Sorry if you guys see me looking. You think that I'm looking at nothing, but I really am just looking at Ben. I just can't stop it. I just can't stop. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be that person, but I can't stop looking at it.
So is there anything in particular that you guys want to see in the policy? That I just want to make sure that, you know, like I said, I mean, I'm going through the Rhode Island general laws. I'm going through what we already have.
Yep.
But I just want to make sure that it's probably going to be a 2-part, or, you know, it's going to be residency and registration.
Yeah.
Because it, you know, one does not have to do with the other sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're better off keeping it separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you, Diana, for working on that. And
No
I
problem.
know, so we'll look at, you know, having like a meeting and having this maybe passed in for the August meeting. Is that what you were thinking, Diana?
Yeah, I mean, if I can get this to all of you
I mean, we can look at it, and make a decision, based through email and say, yeah, it looks okay. Let's send it over to the school committee in the July meeting. And
Okay.
you know what I
Well,
mean? If we
is
can
there a
get it
school
done
committee
before.
meeting in July?
Are we having one? No.
I think that there's one listed.
Oh, there is, okay. For
Yeah,
some reason, I did not think that was the case,
Yeah.
but that's even better, because if you have one listed for July, and if there are questions or concerns,
Right.
you have one in August, it's in place for the school year.
And I would think maybe even at that point, I'm not a proponent of Google anything or
Right.
Zoom anything, but even in July, if we have to have one, I'm sure, I know everyone's on vacation, goes on vacation,
Yeah.
but we could have a school committee meeting just to pass something like this
Mhm.
that would need to get done.
Yep.
Okay.
And if anyone in the meanwhile starts thinking about for the next school year, some, any of the policies that they think that we need to readdress, look at, haven't been looked at long enough. So we could kind of get them on a schedule and just keep moving through them. It would be a good idea.
Yeah, there, actually, when I started looking at this, there's probably one that I would like to
Okay,
have you look at as well, but I don't have it in front of me now, and
okay.
I-
So I'll be the gatekeeper for that. So if anyone has any and would like to send them to me, I'll start setting up a schedule for us to start working on them.
awesome.
Yeah, and Jenny, I'm gonna send you one about the principles of a school committee decisions and stuff. I just think ours needs to be updated. I've been trying to update it now for like 3 years. It just hasn't really been a focus of anything, because we've had, in my opinion, more important things. But I think right now with a lot of the stuff that's going on, I think it would be important. So I'm just going to send you, and I'll send it right now, just one that happens to have some things that I like. And then the other one that I wanted to just bring up, did that one not? Oh yeah. We don't have a policy, and I'm big on this, about the student representative in the school committee.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a policy. We don't have, it's just something that we do. I would like to make it a policy, because I think that if you do have a policy, then it will continue, whether I'm sitting on here or someone else is sitting on here. And the purpose would be to establish the position of a student representative to the East Providence School Committee. The student representative is not a member of the school committee, but serves in a non-voting advisory capacity representing the interests of students in the school system. That being said, I would like the position to change a little bit to not just the high school. I think that it's great that we hear all this wonderful stuff about the high school. And if there's anybody watching, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. I think we're going to be sick of hearing about the high school eventually. So I really would like to know what's going on with all of our schools. We have a huge school system with tons of stuff. And I don't know if that representative gets a representative from each school, like 3 lines, and they just
report
out to all of us so that we hear what's going on in the schools. Because I'll tell you, this was the first year I haven't been in a school like I've been in for the last 6 years, and I really have no idea what's going on. So, and there are people watching, because I immediately just got a text message. So
maybe
and a phone call. So
maybe what you can do is, I mean, you could probably have a representative from each school, but because of the time of the school committee, I know as a parent, I'm not sure I would want my child, for elementary children, out that late.
No, I mean, like, email the one person, email the head, the representative.
Well, that's what I was thinking, that you could have the high school representative
represent the district.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And it does go on to say, this particular one does go on to say, attend all regular open meetings, sit with the school committee members, be eligible to propose agenda items, which I would love to hear from somebody like that. It does say they would serve 1 term. It selected and appointed by the junior class in the May to do it for their senior year. This is just something that I think it would be great for next year. I I think if we could get it in, and so I will send that, and if you guys would like to look at it,
Yes, and I have it already. If you want
Yeah.
me to just scan it
Yeah.
to everyone.
maybe
I
you
mean,
can
we
take
also
off.
have the individuals that were part of the new club, the Shout Club, that,
Yeah.
so they would be also a good candidate to use for different items that you may want to hear them present to the school committee. So maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be the high school liaison, but it could be one of the representatives from Shout, because they are going to represent all of the schools.
Right, and that's fine. Who's running that program? Do you know?
Dr. Bowler has been
Yeah.
very involved.
Okay, so she's here, so I'd love to see if she can
Yeah,
get
and I
us some
know that
information.
Dakota
Oh,
watched
Yeah,
it,
watching.
but
yes.
he may be a senior this year.
Is he a senior?
Yes, he
Okay.
is.
So I'm not sure if it's Wendy. There were several individuals that were interested, but I think he and Aiden are seniors. So,
Okay, well, they must definitely have some, I mean, they're big influencers, so they definitely must have some people that are gonna follow in their lead.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too.
Oh, yeah, they have a good group already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually very interested in at least observing one of those meetings, if not, I was a big
It's
fan
really,
of.
really nice. Yeah.
So I think that's, I mean,
Yeah.
without getting into too much of a fight about the mask thing, I'm sure it will turn into something, but
I'm gonna talk, I think we should just make an announcement.
well, I mean, if we're right, because I just went on
Yeah.
RIDE's website and they're not updated it.
No.
They still have the protocols from the,
Right.
the prom thing, the playbook.
Right.
They have a phone number. I'm going to call it and ask them. But I do know districts are
Mhm.
and I mean, Interscholastic League has said
Right.
you're all set.
And
so.
these are the guidelines that are coming from them, so.
Right.
They're also kind of stuck where we are, whereas they want to make the announcement first, and then they'll get to the policy,
Right,
Right.
right.
at some point after. So it seems like we're all kind of on the same boat.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, I don't want anyone, I mean, I know that, I know it's hard to keep people, distance, but I mean, I'll be honest with you. I watched my daughter get sick over and over again because the poor girl was wearing the same, a mask that I've watched, but she would take it off for a second and all that pollen and stuff went right back in it. And the poor girl kept putting it back on. I just want people to feel comfortable, and I just want people to try to, I want the same thing across the board. Like if one school's doing one thing, I want them to be able to do the other. If the high school's doing one thing, I want the middle schools to be able to do the other. I know that there's a different in vaccinations, but that doesn't mean that everyone at the high school is vaccinated because they're of age. And, and it doesn't mean everyone at the middle school who's not of age is not vaccinated. So I just really would like to see some kind of continuity and going forth over the summer, I just hope, we have some direction from the state on what we're supposed to do. Because that's going to be the big question starting to come up. That and buses, which I have already gotten an email about. So,
So Jessica, when you report out this time, you're gonna report out and give the reason about the immunization?
I don't know if I'm even on the agenda.
Oh, you are, you're always on it. with the
I
policy.
always get, I didn't get anything sent to me, so I don't know.
All
Did
right.
you, Jenny?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I don't know. That's why I was like, are we having a meeting?
Isn't it next week?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So anyway, but when you report out, you're gonna talk about why we didn't put the COVID vaccine
I am
in
going to
there,
report that out. I'm going to report out what we're going to be talking about over the
right.
summer. what
and that
we're
we're
working on,
starting to go,
and that you have a hair somewhere. I don't know where it is.
and that we are starting to go in person.
Yep.
We're going to be getting our list
Yep.
ready, starting to meet again in August
Yes.
unless something happens.
Correct. And then I'm also going to ask that we never have school committee meetings the week of graduation coming up for the following ever year, because I don't like it.
All right.
Oh, wait, now does Ben's face, did he need us to change a policy that we?
No,
Okay, I'm just,
no.
okay, so
Yeah,
we're good?
we were
Okay.
just talking about the ins and outs. of
Right,
it.
okay,
Yeah.
because I was,
Yeah.
I got really confused.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you and get ready. It's going to be a squat
My
job.
birthday's on Sunday, so think about how hot I will be since I sweat a lot.
Well, she could go to the beach. That's what I'm going to do.
I am gonna go on Monday.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.